Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. My name is Sal Abramo, VP of Marketing here at AlertOps. This is the second edition of our Incident Management Cafe, our series of informational discussions where we have experienced members of our AlertOps team here and beyond discuss and share incident management insights and digital operations knowledge, expertise, and some best practices too as well. Last week was an exciting week for us at AlertOps as we're one of the sponsors of the 2021 ConnectWise ITNation event in Orlando. No question, though, in hearing what we had heard on the floor there, that MSPs today are very much focused on delivering consistently exceptional service to their customer base, improving efficiency, streamlining services and delivery process is on the mind of pretty much everyone that I spoke with at the event in the MSP leadership. Moving away from that day-to-day break-fix drudgery and freeing up resources to focus on strategic IT infrastructures to support end customers and some of the end customers' business objectives. They're constantly challenged with customer expectations, rising expectations in the context of rapidly changing technology, as well as increasing complexity we're seeing out there today. So optimizing help desk operations and performance, for example, can have a huge impact on profitability, on team morale, on customer satisfaction, and keeping those results and those best practices and the latest tools to constantly improve it. The environment for your team is really, really a challenge. And finally, what I heard a lot was, how do we leverage service delivery to get a leg up on the competition? With many MSPs asking, how can we create a truly unique user experience and client experience with our service delivery that in turn we can turn into a real competitive advantage for our business? So that's a few of the topics that we've heard, and and there's other things too as well. I'm going to turn it over to Cam and to Bob on our team, and I'll let them introduce themselves and give their perspectives too, as well as the last week. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Al. Hi, everyone. I'm Cam with the solutions team here at AlertOps.
And I'm Bob Crum with technology at AlertOps.
Awesome. Yeah, so being at IT Nation was definitely a surreal experience because you really were just thrown into the mix of not service management from an internal IT, but managed services that really rely on a bit of a different framework as far as how they approach service management. And from what I saw this year, the name of the game was security. The amount of ransomware and phishing attacks are drastically increasing. The stress and pressure around incident response, as well as security insurance for managed service providers from NIST, right, the National Institutes of Standard and Technologies, are increasing dramatically. And at the same time, the NIST framework is kind of becoming the holy grail as far as how managed service providers are tackling these security incidents. So obviously, from an internal IT perspective, you might have some application break, something of that nature, but that would be considered an incident. Now, from the context of a managed service provider, it's a little bit different. So obviously, break fixes are definitely one type of incident, but that incident isn't necessarily categorized by the same framework as incident response. That would be a service that they provide to their clients. Now, from a standpoint of security, internally for the managed service providers as well as their clients, it's starting to become a huge, huge concern. So from that standpoint, the procedures and method of resolution is needing some level of streamlining, as well as needs a drastic shift to a more organized and identifiable approach. So what NIST kind of runs through is preparation and planning, detection and analysis, containment, eradication, and recovery, and then post-incident activity. Where alerting and incident response tools really start to come into play is detection analysis and post-incident activity. And I really think that's where incident response tools will start to drive value throughout the course of security incidents. Any thoughts there, Bob?
Yeah, Cam, that's 100%. Because what we found, like in our research, was being prepared, having a playbook ahead of time. And again, the response time is critical. And also automation can also play a big part, because with security incidents, time is really, really important. You want to get to it before it gets worse. Cam?
Yeah, 100%. I think that the time to resolution, whether it's should I just disconnect this server from the actual internet, or should I potentially shut everything down? Just that one difference could be the difference between providing an audit trail that is efficient and informative enough to identifying the source of the incident, or identifying what program might have contributed to this security problem. So with that said, I think that from an alerting standpoint, and what you said is absolutely 100% correct. There needs to be a plan in place. When things go down, when unexpected problems arise, having no framework by which to approach them just throws the entire organization into disarray. So people are doing things that they otherwise shouldn't. People are unfortunately sometimes taking it to the extreme, whereas minor containment and eradication efforts would be sufficient. And I think a lot of this stems from the fact that a lot of managed service providers today don't have security incident insurance. So a $50 million company that is held up for $15 million from a ransomware attack, they have the money to pay it, but don't have the money for insurance. So at that point, they go ahead and have to cough up that money on their dime at that point. So I think that the actual planning and preparation in expecting these incidents as they're becoming commonplace in today's ecosystem is crucial.
Yeah, and what we're seeing is, the, you know, companies are going to require, insurance companies are going to require cybersecurity insurance, for one thing. And that's a smart thing to do, right? Secondly, is you really need to get your processes looked at. A SOC 2 type 2 audit is essential. And then also, of course, you're going to want to have the right tools in place. And then, like Cam said, it's sort of lock it down and then ask questions later. So you're alerting your incident response to be a big part of that. If your system is going to automatically block things first, well, then you notify the teams again and say, this is what we saw, this is what happened. And then your team, your support team can go look at it and go assess whether or not it was necessary. Cam?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that specifically from a context of alerting, we've made a lot of progress from a monitoring space and a detection space. So from IDs, from SIMs, from file integrity monitoring, third-party monitoring services, dark web monitoring, multi-factor authentication, well, et cetera, we have a lot of items that are equipped to tell us when there might be a potential issue. Now, equipped to tell us in the sense that they're equipped to detect it, and a lot of the times they're sending out just emails. So the second that you have something that could compromise the integrity of your business at its core, an email is not going to cut it. You're going to need multiple tiers of escalation, multiple channels of alerting. In the TV show The Office, Ryan came up with a notion where everyone would be alerted via one SMS. Someone would get a tweet, someone would get a Facebook Messenger message, a phone call, a fax. And while it sounds like a joke, throughout the course of a security incident, that's really what you need to happen. So I think that multi-channel alerting and process automation there is crucial.
That's especially true if your email system's been compromised.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. So I think that one of the key takeaways from the incident from the event for me was that incident response is very, very sophisticated nowadays from a detection standpoint, but the actual detection itself is limited in how it delivers the communication. So the communication piece of detection, right? Detection delivery is a piece that more MSPs need to start investing in, or else 15 minutes into a critical ransomware attack is probably 15 minutes too late.
Good point.
Yeah. Yeah, no question about it. And I think the end customers also of the MSPs are also rising in terms of their expectation, right? So along with all of this complexity, environment complexity is just the expectations are moving up. And how do they handle that is something I think we heard a lot,
Yeah, absolutely. And specifically in the small to mid-size managed services segment, a lot of them are catering to organizations like school districts or municipality police departments, where really you can't have a system go down or you can't have a system compromised because that's going to affect larger society as a whole. So I definitely think this is a crucial piece of incident response.
Definitely, yeah. And I think the organizations that are best prepared to do that are going to really have a service delivery advantage, a competitive advantage over the competition. And I think that's part of it. I mentioned it up front. That's what that's what you have to do these days to stay competitive. How do I do that better than the other MSP, down the road. Excellent, guys. Well, that's good. I think we've covered some good topics here today. I don't know if there's anything else you guys would like to put out there, but I like the this is a good we've covered some good ground.
Awesome.
Good.
Great.
Great. Thanks, Cam. Thanks, Bob. Till the next time.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it. Thank you now.